Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Rude Report. It's been a little bit longer than I said it would be last time when we were in Mike's truck,
Yeah.
but we are here. We're in the same place, and there's been quite a few things that have happened, right, Mike? And
That's right, John.
crossing over to the other
Yeah.
side. So Sergeant Mike Rude retired is going to tell us about some of your plans this year. I know that you've had some R&R this last little bit, so you haven't been as busy on the road over the Christmas season.
Yeah.
But that's okay, man. And you've got some big plans this year, so I guess we could just how's your Christmas been? Start there.
Well, it was a good Christmas. I stayed in Petawawa, stayed in a hotel there. I had a couple people visit me while I was there a couple times, so that was nice, right? Spark and I got some company, and it was good just because all the time I travel, I'm staying with somebody else, so I'm always having to visit, if you would, and because then I'm at the hotel and I don't have to visit necessarily. I kind of get some alone time and just some time to kind of recover and get a little bit back. So
and so having your own little space, right? That is a nice little suite you had at the hotel, and you were able to invite friends over to your place for once.
So people come by, visit, and then you can go.
Yeah.
And then I
It's a real nice place over there. At the hotel. We should have set this up so the cameras were crossed, so if I could look at you on camera at the same time.
Next time we'll do it that way.
Yes, that's how you should do it.
Well, probably really we just have to go rotate it.
No. You have to put the behind.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
We're working out the kinks, folks. It'll be better.
It's
I'll talk to Mike through the screen. I can
it's
see
an
him.
effort.
He's right there. It's effortless. It's time just flies when we're with you, man. Like it's a great time. So, Mike, you had a good Christmas. You relaxed. That was good. I know we visited you a couple times, which was a lot of fun. And then I know that you also have quite a few things coming up this year, right? Like, so what are some of the things that you're looking forward to this year?
So really, I'll take for starters. Well, I plan on going down to Daytona Bike Week, like for the Florida, right? For the 1st of March. That's what I'd like. That's what I'm hoping for. But if not, like gonna do the Run for the Wall. So the Run for the Wall is in May, and it goes from Los Angeles, California, like Ontario, California, to Washington, D.C. And then and it's to the Vietnam Memorial. Every day is like a parade. People out front with flags, meeting people at overpasses.
So the Run for the Wall is a motorcycle
ride, yeah.
And who's involved? I know it's veterans and who else?
Yeah, so it's the ride for those people that can't say.
Okay.
And it started because of the Vietnam War, and to not forget those people that were left behind, the POWs, the missing, and all that, and then to ride for those that can't. So even so it doesn't necessarily have to be a veteran that does the ride. Civilians come and support the ride as well, and maybe ride for a family member or ride for a friend or whatever. Yeah.
So that ends in Washington, D.C., I think. It ends right near
the
Vietnamese
so
Memorial.
We'll go and meet at the Vietnam Memorial. Then we'll go and they'll have a big photo of the whole group, because it's
a big group.
It's like 3 groups that all meet together in Washington, D.C. So you have a southern route, a midway route, and a central route, which was the first route that they started with. And so that's the route that I'll be doing this year, the central route. And and just to provide support for people riding. So if somebody breaks down, more on, I imagine more so on the southern route, but when it gets, some people have heat stroke or
So you'll be in the truck or riding?
If I find a driver, then I'll be riding.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll drive my truck and do the support.
Yeah. And this coincides. I mean, and this is a big event every year, but I think there's some anniversaries too this year.
Yeah. So this year it's like the 35th anniversary of the Run for the Wall. Okay. It'll be the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. And then this year is also the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps.
Okay.
So that's, that should be something, that should be something huge.
Right, getting back in office just in time for the Marines to turn 250.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's also throwing the big birthday party for the US in 2026, right? Remember he made that video a few years ago talking about how there was going to be all these events that he would host and like the biggest party ever for the American, right? Because it starts, I think it's going to start this spring
It's a big year.
and it's going to go like all the way to the 250th anniversary.
Oh, no.
The US was born in 1776, right? So there'll be
Yeah,
250 in 2026 under Trump.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's also the rolling thunder that happens at the end of the run for the wall, right? And you're gonna.
Yeah, it's when they come into the, I'm not sure how much they still run it, but I mean, they'll have like, I know they've had close to like 1 million motorbikes coming into the city,
Holy jumping.
right? For the memorial. So like,
Not to Ottawa.
no, this is to Washington DC, and they'll, you know, it's not a long ride, but you're waiting all day to try to,
You have to stage it.
right? Slowly
Okay.
inching forward. So people that do the run for the wall normally get to be, you know, the first 10 or 20,000 people that come into the city then. So, so it kind of gives you a bit of bonus by doing the run for the wall.
And isn't there like a famous Marine who stands there all day, salutes everybody on one of the corners?
Yeah, I think
He's a
that.
famous guy, and I think he got married or something on the corner there.
Oh no!
Or at least he had in one of the years, but he's been standing there doing a salute for like
Yeah, yeah.
everybody passes by, and he's there like, oh, that's incredible.
Yeah,
Americans love their country. We could learn something from them the way they love their country, right?
yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
So that's exciting. You're doing the rolling barrage. You're going to be a support truck if you can't find a driver for
Yeah.
the truck.
Yeah.
If you can't find a driver.
Yeah.
And then there's some motorcycle action going on. There's the Rolling Thunder at the end of it. Last year, you were telling me, I think, that you were going to do the Rolling Thunder, but what happened last year?
So then last year, because also I wanted to, there's one more ride that leads from Washington DC, and it goes to just south of Chicago to Marseille, Illinois, and that's where they have the Middle Eastern conflict wall. So last
And
year,
where from?
instead of in Illinois, in Marseille or whatever,
How far from Chicago would that be?
it's probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Chicago.
Okay.
And so they do a run from the wall, from one wall to the next, right? From the Vietnam Wall to the Middle Eastern conflict wall, which included like Somalia and that. So because I went to Somalia, I wanted to go to that wall. So I ended up doing that wall instead last year, and I wasn't sure where to link up for the people doing the Rolling Thunder. So then, because I was gonna possibly then take a family of the fallen, but then I wasn't sure where to link up, so I kind of stuck with what I knew, and then so that'll be the plan. I think this year will be the Rolling Thunder.
That's awesome, man. Like that would be, I can't imagine what that experience is like to just see all that patriotism and camaraderie and brotherhood. And so let me tell you this, ask you this. What was your favorite, like what's the most beautiful thing you've seen on any of these trips? Like could be people, could be nature. Like, you've seen a lot of the United States doing this.
Yeah, that southern route is like beautiful country, right? Like it's really breathtaking. You could sit there and take pictures after pictures after pictures, right? And then say, geez, I still got to take more, right? But
So where are you going through on the southern route there?
or well, on the southern route goes like down through New Mexico, through Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, I think, maybe a little bit into Georgia. I'm
And
not
that's
sure.
where you're taking lots of pictures of the desert?
Well, like all like going into Texas and everything was pretty cool. And but I tell you another area like coming south from Utah and stuff, that whole like right down to Scottsdale, Arizona, it's incredible.
I know that, yeah, in Arizona, people think of deserts, but I know that there's like that might be, I don't know if it's Scottsdale, but it's not Phoenix. It's like the northern area of Arizona there. There's very touristy areas that have lots of greenery and maybe even some mountain ranges or something.
Yeah.
A very
Yeah.
nice kind of place. Very surprising when you think of Arizona. I think of deserts anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a diversity of landscape.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going from south and all the way across the coast, you know, like you're gonna see quite a few landscapes and that
This is
kind of
bugging me. If the producer knows the name of that place in Arizona that I'm thinking of, that's like a really quaint type of area. I'd really like to know. I don't know if it's Scottsdale, but it's definitely not Phoenix. It's not far from there though. Like,
Glendale,
might be.
maybe. I think that's the more newer built up.
It's like it kind of looks like maybe something out of Colorado.
We'll look it up. John.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
We're not actually running the StreamYard either. We have a producer, so we can't see the comments. Sorry, everyone. We're,
Can't engage with anybody.
yeah. We'll engage with Mike and
Well, I think you can find it on the,
We could just look it up on the
if
phone.
you hit the chat thing,
Yeah,
it come up, but I mean, it's
Internal,
gonna be
like,
harder, yeah, yeah.
internal conversation.
With the phone, it's harder to be able to see the comments come up because you don't have a big screen, right?
Chris can
No,
just go
you-
on his Facebook and
Oh,
see
yeah,
what people
okay.
are
What-
saying.
I guess I'll
Yeah, come on, Chris. So use your brace.
you handle it,
Gotta
John.
bring
I'll look
Chris
it up. You hold the show, John.
All right. So you see the beautiful. You haven't done the central route yet.
No.
My goodness, that's going to be pretty too. Which states is that going through?
So that it starts in California and then kind of winds up north
Northern California.
and then you leave California and then kind of go northeast, and then come up to Colorado and then you kind of go straight east from there, I think.
Okay.
Right, so you come up by Colorado Springs just before Denver, and then it kind of curves off and goes to the east.
Colorado is going to be would be awesome to see.
Yeah, should be some.
What are people? Did people answer?
Yeah,
that?
I don't know. I can't get it to come.
Chris is not having a good luck with his tech. He's not. How many phones do you have?
Not too
He's
early.
like pulling phones out of every pocket. He's got 2 phones, but I mean, it seems like
saying
10.
about the 2 phones there with the. You need to have 2 phones.
Oh, that was Chris Tan.
Oh, great! Yeah, we were watching that.
Okay, back onto the track, John. Here, back onto the
Yeah.
Spark, I saw the pictures of you driving the motorcycle with Spark in her sidecar.
Yeah.
And whenever you're doing like a left turn and Spark's wheels on her little sidecar are off the ground.
Yeah. Or when you do a right turn, right? So
Okay.
when you're
Oh, okay.
turning right, because the sidecar's on the right,
Oh, okay.
so then the sidecar lifts up.
I'll have to post. I got some pictures of Mike and Spark in the sidecar from like, man, what I would have been 2 years ago, whatever. That bikers church, like when not long after I would have first met you, looking beautiful with Spark in the sidecar, and oh man,
Yeah.
it's quite the sight.
That's awesome. So when's the last time? So you did motorcycle last year, right? For the run for the wall, you didn't?
Yeah, I did the run for the wall last year in May.
Did you motorcycle?
Yeah. So I rode. Spark and I were in the bike, and my friend Gary Bath was driving the truck. So then we did the whole route. Then we did to Chicago, and then from there we left and we went to Toronto. He flew back to northern BC, back to Fort St. John, BC, and then I carried on my going wherever.
He goes all wherever the road calls you, right? You always feel best when you're on the move.
That's right. He's
Yeah.
got a quota, right? If you don't put on enough miles a month, is it, or is it a week? Or
Well, it kind of averages out to like 420 kilometers a day, every day.
holy,
And then if you miss, then you got to make it up.
yeah, okay.
So I regularly make it up because
Harsh punishment.
if I'm going from the east to the west, then I'm usually, driving through northern Ontario, covering that in a day and a half.
All right, let's upset some people here. What's your favorite part of Ontario?
Favorite part of Ontario.
None of it says you don't like any of it. That's what all the Albertans are saying.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, maybe
That's terrible.
that's
Viva the Quebec.
no. Like
What's the prettiest part of Ontario?
I don't think I mean, there's every spot. There's so much. We have such a big, beautiful country, right? I mean, you could easily pick a dozen spots in Ontario, and every province going.
I could tell you
across,
some of
right?
my favorite places. Going along 17 along Lake Superior. That's
Yeah.
pretty pretty. That's really pretty. You got the rolling hills and the
Yeah, yeah.
views and
Yeah.
the bays and all that.
Coming
Yeah, I mean, if you go one way, like if you head west out of Ottawa, you get lake country kind of, and if you head like out the Ottawa Valley, you start hitting, you terrain and
Yeah, as soon as you cross over to Quebec from Ottawa,
more,
like
more green
Saskatchewan,
forest and
it starts
Yeah.
filling up.
Yeah.
Crazy.
it's beautiful.
The 50, this 50 from here to Montreal is actually really pretty.
Yeah, it's really nice. Now. It's an easy drive. Yeah, it's a really nice drive down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've taken that before.
And
You
you
can
can fly.
You can take the smaller highway too, right along the river, really too, and it's more of a slow kind of quiet drive.
Yeah.
But
I've done
The
that.
50
That's
is-
another.
But it could be really annoying though, like with the 50 with all the traffic and people slowing down. But come on, guys, go. You're on a highway, start driving.
Yeah.
How do you deal with slow drivers when you're on the road?
Oh, well.
you're not in the city normally.
No,
He's got a dually and it's got one of them.
It's got a huge.
I got a plow on.
Yeah, yeah.
Move on. No, but whatever. Sometimes it gets frustrating, but other
Yeah.
times it's like whatever. I just kind of fall in behind them, and then
That's it.
I zone out and I keep my distance behind them, and then I'm like,
You
oh,
don't
geez,
know.
I'm only doing 90.
But he's always talking
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
Well, I mean, when I say zone,
He's a professional driver, like, in the
it's
flow
a
state.
lot of miles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of miles. I think my record for one day drive is I drove once from Winnipeg to Ottawa. One shot, one time.
yeah,
That was a long way. That was 24 hours of flow.
yeah, I did the same, and then
It's not,
it's not worth it.
don't recommend it.
No,
No, keep it between the navigational beacons.
Yeah.
Instead,
Arrive
Safety
alive.
first.
24 hours. Instead, drive 22 hours, sleep 3, and then drive the other.
What do you need to drive 12, take a 3-hour rest driving on the phone. Something like that, right, Mike?
I usually like to sleep from like say 3 in the morning till 6 in the morning before it gets light out, right? So I try to stop, sleep in my truck for that 2 hours of darkness or 2 or 3 hours, and then
Can you imagine
sun comes up, start driving.
driving like a madman, sleeping 3 hours a night? I'm a guy. I need like 10 hours this week.
I don't need quite that many, but yeah, three.
I never get.
For me, say leaving, say when I leave say if I'm going back to Alberta, the first place I might stop like by Wawa, right? That's normally where I end up stopping. Sleeping like 3 hours there. Then I drive on, get to Manitoba. Then I might sleep somewhere there. That'll be the next night will be like maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep.
Yeah, it's like a weekend.
One of those cities or towns near Wawa, I think west of Wawa, has some sort of a connection to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that's who's that one? It's got
Is it
what's
because
the
of
name
the
of the
forest?
town? Is that Marathon?
John keeps up bringing things he doesn't know the answer
Chris has
to.
2 phones here, and we can't get any fact checking on the fly. Chris,
Okay, we're gonna fact check.
Next
now.
time I'm gonna have a computer ready.
I
and
need
we're
to
good
know
go.
exactly where Winnie. You look that up. We'll keep talking.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things. But Highway 11, that I think Marathon's along 11 might be. But I know definitely, what is along Highway 11? I know this for a fact. Is now I can't even remember the place that has the UFOs. Wait, it's in that song. By the kid. Oh my goodness, I'm trying.
I'm already on 3 researches ago, John.
Okay, Chris.
We're racking up research time.
Now we need
Okay, John,
CFHG
you do
to
the
come in
research.
here.
I'll talk to Mike.
CFHG needs to come in here and tell us about Northern Ontario a little bit. Tell us,
Yeah, we'll have.
where do you turn left? Cochrane. So you get to Cochrane, and then that's when the Highway 11 starts going. Takes like almost a right angle to go westward across Northern Ontario, right? And you guys talk, and I'll remember that place on the 11th.
We don't even know where we were. Okay, so we've covered the motorcycles. We've covered Ontario.
You like Northern Ontario? You like the 11th?
Oh no, I'd rather go up through Sault Ste. Marie, Thunder
that's
Bay
where you
that
were
way.
going.
That's 11, yeah.
No, that's at the end because at the end, the 11 and the 17 merge at Nippes. Or at Nipigon. I think it's Nipigon. Yes.
Yeah, Nipigon.
I think it's Nipissing. That's over here.
Nipigon.
That's Nipigon's like freaking 17, 18 hours.
John is normally the one that keeps us on the rails over
I'm
here.
so off the rails, guys. I'm sorry. Nobody wants, but I find Highway 11 really lonely. Like it's people trucking along and kind of quiet.
Which one? That's
the
one that
northern
goes
route.
around, but
So you
further
get
northern through
so
Kapuskasing,
through North Bay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one's
alone.
I don't. That when I first started driving the country, I would go one way or the other, and then I'm like, no, I think I like the other way. And then I'd do that way, and I'm like, oh man, that's too long.
There's
I like
only
the
like
other
two ways to go. If you're traveling
There's
across
only, like,
Canada,
two
you can take the one way, and sometimes there's a second. So
That's it, man. We have like 2 roads in the US. The interstate system, they're like it all over the place.
Except really from Nipigon all the way to
It's one
it's a one
Yeah.
highway all the way
to the
to
because then you
like
pass,
Steinbach,
you pass through.
Manitoba,
which makes it very easy to manage our travel if someone was so inclined,
It
or to
doesn't-
prevent our travel.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And if there's an accident, like in the wintertime,
Yeah,
they
that too.
close it down
Yeah.
for 6 hours.
Yeah.
What that place in somebody in the comments is going to be singing the Tragically Hip song about that damn place where they believe in UFOs. They don't believe in UFOs, but they have a bright UFO on the side of the road. That's why can't Moonbeam? Yeah, it's
that's-
Moonbeam, Ontario. Finally, I remember.
Oh, I knew that.
Moonbeam, Ontario.
Yeah.
I think they had like a UFO culture, like a Roswell situation, but I don't think they do. I think there was, I looked up the origin story once. I think it was some hikers in the 1800s saw a light or something.
Oh, the glowing orb. I got a drone sighting. It was an old one, but
Okay, so what is your favorite highway in Canada to drive on? Okay, 11, clearly. Sorry, 11.
Hmm.
We have people on here from Cochrane and Marathon.
I'm sure we
that
do.
area first.
I don't know, maybe I would almost, because it's way out in the boonies, like northern BC. When you come, I think it's the town of Jade, or where they get all the jade, right? But you go up that road, and that's like,
The Emerald Valley?
I mean,
that's northern BC.
yeah, like northern BC, like more northwestern BC, like over from Prince George, like coming down from Whitehorse. Then you come down through once you enter BC, then it kind of it's a really off the path highway kind of, right?
A lot of trees, a lot of.
It's kind of a really
Yeah, that
cool
would be
area.
like northern boreal forest. Like once you get up into a little farther north and the forest changes.
Well, even when you're on the,
Yeah.
you can start to see that the trees are changing.
Yeah.
Like,
You can see a definitive line sometimes. Like if you drive towards Quebec City, it's like that too. Once you pass Quebec City, headed towards Bagotville, and then you drive up into the hills, and there's like a clear line of like light trees, dark trees. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So BC, that reminds me, you're doing something in BC next year.
Yeah.
Victoria, maybe, or Victoria.
Oh yeah, Pegasus jump. Yeah, so
What a segue, guys.
that's in July. I think it's July.
That's in
13th
BC?
is when it starts. Yeah, so it's in Campbell River.
Yeah, I thought that was.
So the Operation Pegasus jump, that's like they have 2 serials. It's for veterans, first responders, police, corrections, and stuff like that. Be able to go and kind of get together with people and go out and jump out of a plane.
Good kind of history of jumping out of planes.
And not always what I wanted to, but I mean,
Good way to
sometimes you
eliminate
just gotta
risk.
go, right?
How many jumps did you have? Do you have? I think you were telling me.
Probably like around 88 jumps with the military.
88 jumps out of the plane, man.
Yeah.
Would you describe, and I know I teased you and I called you the adrenaline junkie, but that's not really, that's totally fair.
Well, probably back in the day,
A little
it
bit.
was
Just
more,
a little bit.
and now now it's still doing the things, but I don't think I'm the junkie.
Right. Well, okay, maybe the better way of phrasing it is, man, you at least have to appreciate a good thrill to do something like that. You can't be a stick in the mud or,
Yeah,
you can't be
if you embrace it, it probably goes a little better.
you can't be a guy who's
Yeah,
like, timid or whatever and do that kind of thing for a living.
Yeah,
And then you did mountaineering, right? Like you did mountain
I
stuff.
was a mountain ops instructor.
Exactly, man. You like the most
Took
difficult
people up the
terrain,
mountain.
that's where you want to be.
How many times have you jumped since the military?
4 times.
4.
Yeah. So this last year at Pegasus Jump, I only jumped once because I was having a rough go, kind of.
Yeah.
And I wasn't 100% there. So I'm like, I did the 1 jump and I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm good
gotta
for
do
now,
it.
right? The year before I did 3, right? And I probably would have progressed to the point where I pulled my own chute or like, whatever.
Oh, so you're like a co-op jump? You're jumping with a,
Well, they take your thing out of your back of your chute.
oh,
Then when you jump,
Okay,
they
yeah.
throw the
So it
thing
opens this
and it
thing,
pulls it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what it was like in the military, right? Like when you look at plane.
Ours was like hooked up to a static line, and you walk along, and it's on this cable. And then so if I was going to the port or the starboard side, I'd be throwing the static line with my right hand, and then going out to the left through the door.
And then that line pulls your chute.
Yeah. So then as I'm falling, it pulls the chute out, and then it's got like a piece of 80-pound test cord that then breaks the line that's attached to the plane, that's attached to the parachute.
Yeah.
So what was the best jump you ever had in the military? Like the most awesome scenery, you know?
I'd say the coolest jump I did, or best scenery, blah, blah, blah,
Blah, blah, blah.
was jumping into Normandy, France for the 50th anniversary of D-Day.
Oh my goodness.
So we staged out of one of the like places where they staged out of in World War II, where the airborne staged out of one of the buildings, right? So we got our briefing and everything at this building that they got in World War II before they jumped in, right?
Okay.
So then we flew over and we dropped on Drop Zone November on my hand. So Drop Zone November was where the Canadians had jumped, or sorry, that's where the 3rd Brigade headquarters jumped, and Canadians actually jumped on Drop Zone Victor. So that was the one that the Canadians jumped at. But most of them in World War II, a lot of them were all scattered.
Yeah.
So people were dropped like
all the jumpers.
30 miles. Yeah. They're all jumped.
Yeah.
And whether that was part of the plan, right, to cause more confusion for the Germans or whatever. But, for a lot of those soldiers, they marched a long ways to get to their objective because they were dropped way off, right?
And what did you jump out of for that one?
I jumped out of a British stretched Hercules. So I forget, they're that much longer than a regular Herc, so it carried that many more people. And then we jumped with the British low-level parachute. So that parachute was designed to be able to jump from at 600 feet. So basically, at 600 feet, you're probably hitting the ground within 20 seconds, right? You're not in the air for very long.
Yes, quick.
Because you're probably dropping really 300 feet before the chute even opens. So then you only got the final
That is
3.
a quick progression of time, and things have to go very right.
Yeah. You don't have much time for mistakes.
No recovery time.
Yeah.
All right, that's an awesome stat.
Yeah.
I would not have expected that. Wow, it's some D-Day experience there.
So it was kind of cool because we're flying in the Herc and they had the ramp down, right? So the ramp is flat. So then you're looking back at the English Channel. We flew over the Queen's flotilla, right? So the Queen's yacht along
she
with
was
the
there.
Navy, they were sailing for Normandy as we flew over and jumped out at I think maybe we jumped at 800 or 1,000 feet, something like that. But it was
Queen.
they were crossing, but we flew over their ship, and then there was it was I think
That's incredible.
19 Hercules or 20 Hercs, 3 Canadians, 17 British, 2,000 troops jumped all together, right? So there was 1,800 British, 150 Canadians, and 50 Polish, and jumped out, landed in a farmer's wheat field, right? Like
Yeah.
the wheat was up to here, pulling in your chute, standing up, throw it on top of your rucksack, walk off the drop zone out to the road, and then people were handing glasses of champagne, whatever, having it was just a big, then it became just a big party, hanging out at the bridge. There was a guy came by playing the bagpipes, and so my friend said, "Hey, can you play Scotland the Brave?" Right? So buddy fires up the bagpipes, and then bucks off across the bridge. And I was like, "Hey, we asked him to play the song, and then he
Yeah, yeah.
took off, right?
That's a true. It's like, okay, place Scotland.
Yeah, so then, so he took off playing, went across the bridge, and then he came back, like,
With the Devil's Brigade, like the movie. What was
Yeah,
that?
no,
Like,
that, the point is then, so when he came back, he said to us, that was the one that we played when we attacked across the bridge.
Oh,
So anytime that he plays the song, he has to go across the bridge. So we asked him to play the one song that he had to take
he's
off.
like, I don't have a choice, guys. Sorry.
they played
Because-
that-
so- As they were attacking across the bridge, he was playing the bagpipes.
So that was a veteran from World War II.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh wow.
right.
That's
So it's a
awesome.
World War II veteran that played the bagpipes going across the bridge. So that was in 1994.
Yeah.
And there was other guys, but it was like, right. He's like, yeah, that's the one. He was playing that as they were taking rounds. He was playing the bagpipes as the other guys were all assaulting the positions, right? So he went across, I think it was with Lord Lovett. And that was his unit that was seizing that bridge. And they, charged across the bridge as he's playing the bagpipes, and they
Wow.
took it, right? Yeah.
Pure gallantry.
Yeah,
And I think
tough guys back
that
then.
would be described as contempt in the face of the enemy.
Yeah. I would say.
Absolute contempt for the enemy.
Yeah, when you're playing the bagpipes. Sorry, don't really care. You're shooting at me, but I'll play the bagpipes and fire my guys up, right?
And that's like smoke.
People either love or hate the pipes, they say.
Oh man, we
Yeah.
I
love
love
our
them.
country.
I
man.
love them.
When you hear stories like this, and you
Yeah,
think of people who want to sell cannons.
Yeah.
That's a whole other.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, and it's like I guess we were talking about the States and how patriotic, like it's probably a very different experience seeing the way they treat their veterans and that whole culture
Yeah.
compared to here, I would think.
Oh man.
Like
Yeah.
it's always something that I kind of, I respected the way they did that. Let's say
They love their country and
yeah.
they love their sacrifice.
Yeah.
And they recognize.
Yeah.
And we need to do that better.
It'd be nice to have a Canada and an
Yeah.
idea. We had an idea. I grew up believing in a Canada and what we stood for and our culture and
Yeah.
knowing about the deeds. We were speaking of Normandy. My grandfather was in I believe it was 1 RCR. He was a sergeant in World War II and he landed in Normandy.
Yeah.
So these stories are so important. And there's a lot of people that don't know that the first thing about World War II, let alone the more current conflicts and the things that you've been through. And that's a history and a culture and a heritage
Somalia.
that we should be proud of and we should be sharing.
I think we should be
Yeah.
proud of Canada. And
Yeah.
we should work to make it better.
Yeah.
I think that's what we should all do, right? Mike?
Yeah. I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love you, man.
Love you too, man. Right?
That story was incredible.
That's a good story.
It was worth the roundabout highway story to get there, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know where you were going, but John, I will never doubt you
I
again.
wasn't going anywhere. I was just talking about highways. I love the 11 is a lonely place.
The highways on the byways.
17
Yeah.
fine. But here's the fact is that's how our country moves. Our country moves, everything's shipped there, people move there, and then it's brings, it's how we're connected to each other. It's part of it.
Well, it's true. Like so many people have taken these routes across Canada, or and it's interesting enough when we talk or we travel a little bit. Like people in every one of these towns, well, oh, that's where I'm from. People get so excited, right? They have a little pride in their little
Yeah, yeah.
piece of Canada. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
nothing
it's
wrong
a
with that at
beautiful-
all.
It's a beautiful place and with lots of rich stories. So wow, I don't even know how to top that, Norman.
Yeah.
Right? When you're doing going across a bridge with a
Yeah.
badass piper from hell. I mean,
That was
righteous from hell.
pretty cool. I mean, then we're like, we were partying on the Con Canal.
just like
And a Navy ship was steaming by. And I wanted to throw up a can of beer up to the guy on the ship. So as the ship's going by, I'm like trying to get their attention. Hey, you want a beer? Right? So then they're all like, yeah. So then the whole crowd is watching me try to throw this can of beer up to the guys on the ship. It's probably like 50 feet above the where I was, or whatever. It was 30, 40, whatever. It was higher than I could throw the beer, obviously.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't a very good throw. I threw the beer up and then I think it ended up in the water. but,
Better than on top of you or.
but everybody was watching, right? The whole crowd. And then it was like, oh, right? Because they failed, but it was all pretty good though.
That's how there's some fun stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Some good memories. And
Yeah.
it's really good that you have those.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty good party too. A lot of times guys were like just putting on the other boot.
You have to leave?
Yeah.
Are you going?
You,
Yeah, well, we can,
no, you guys keep going. I don't want to.
So like you're going for the night or?
No, I'll be back. I'm just going briefly. I forgot I had to do something at 5. Yeah.
You're leaving?
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's
I'll
right,
be
yeah.
right back after.
Right
Yeah.
back. Well, I guess we'll finish the read report there. Is there anything? Well, we'll talk a bit longer.
No, you guys keep talking.
So Chris has to leave us now.
You guys are in charge stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Chris
thanks,
is
everyone.
leaving.
Sorry, everyone. I do not plan my time the best always. I'm happy I was here for part of it. I'm
I'm
so glad I was here for that story.
Yeah,
Like, that's incredible. And I will be back for the next one. Love you.
All right. Love you guys.
Read report
Love
3
you too, man.
in at least I'd say we say 2 weeks, but that's 2 weeks my time. It could be earlier, could be a little
Could be a
bit.
little
We
bit
will
later, who
be
knows,
in
right?
touch, but we're not done just yet. Here, let's talk for another 5 minutes. I say people came, we'll give them a little bit of a show.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
talked about your Christmas vacation. Well, you're taking R&R is the right word for it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You never stop. You're always on the road. You're always going around. You're always doing your thing.
Yeah.
But you deserve to rest too. Like you're helping out your fellow veterans. You're raising methylquin awareness. You're getting out there and you're making a huge impact on so many people's lives. Like we've seen that over Christmas. Have a good time, Chris.
We've seen a bit.
We've seen the impact that you've made on people.
Yeah.
Very profound impact. And I'm proud to call you a friend.
Yeah.
You've done these amazing things. 50th anniversary of D-Day. That's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's cool. You've been to Somalia, Bosnia, Afghanistan, and like I said,
Just wait, bud.
your commitment to the country never stopped, right? Like you
Yeah.
keep doing it. You're always there for your fellow veterans.
Yeah.
And we talked about Operation Pegasus Jump, which is I would never jump out of a plane.
Coming up in July.
That's in
Yeah.
BC. That's cool. Which area of BC again? The north?
In Campbell River on Vancouver Island.
Okay, so that's
Yeah. So about the middle of the island.
pretty
A
place.
little bit further. But
Pretty
yeah.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful area. Really nice. So
Did you do a lot of like training and stuff back in your military days in BC? Like when you were
we ran a recce course out by Chilliwack
Okay.
for a week or two, but yeah.
you didn't do a lot of your mountain stuff there?
No, I did it mostly in Alberta,
Yeah, okay.
in out by Kananaskis, out by Banff, Canmore,
And,
out by Hinton, Jasper, those areas.
so when you were on your mountain course, you were telling me a little bit about it. You said it was like 3 months straight, no days off.
Yeah, it was 89 days straight,
And
right?
that was
No
the one in
days off.
Kananaskis?
Yeah.
And so like what would a day look like during that? Like when you're out there training for your mountaineering course, your mountain course?
So that on that course, because physical fitness was important, right? You're climbing, walking up and down the mountain,
Yeah.
right? So we would do PT every day at like 5 a.m. Do PT, come back, have a shower, go have breakfast, and then would go train from 8:30 until supper. And then we'd go have supper, and then after supper we would practice all the stuff that we were going to get tested on the next day. So basically, you would learn the stuff yesterday. The next day, you would have a refresher, and the following day, you'd be tested on. And that would happen
The
every
3-day cycle.
But every day you were getting tested on something, right? But it was like a 3-day.
And so you
3
told me
days.
this was a really hard course. How many of
Yeah.
the people who started with you were able to actually finish? Like how many would stay half?
I would say about half
About
half make it, or half don't make it.
That's a really high threshold, man. That's a lot of work. So-
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is one fail and another fail, and then
To get 2 tries, I think like two.
kind of like you get a retest. If you fail the retest, then you might get another test, but sometimes not.
After a while, they're just like, we can't do it. You can't do it. We can't do it. And that's what's best because like those kind of operations can be really dangerous, right? So you need the people who can.
Yeah, you got to know
who
what you're
can
gotta know what
actually do
you're
it.
doing.
You gotta have the people who do it. 'Cause
Yeah,
You can only how much water can you get from a stone, right? But I
Yeah,
think it's that the thinking.
Yeah.
It's kind of harsh. And then you taught mountain course for a while, right? Like
Yeah, so I probably taught 3 instructor courses. or helped teach on them.
And how long were those for?
They made them longer, man. Right, so
They made them long.
like my course was 89 days, no days off,
Yeah.
right? Then I taught a course, I think we had 1 day a week off, right? Then I taught another course, it was like 2 days off a week. And it was like 4 months long or something, like it was forever, right? But there's so much to learn,
Do you
right?
have
But
any like, interesting stories from your time instructing? Like some memorable moment that stuck out? That's, we share with everybody.
well, I mean, there's stuff where you're watching, I watched a buddy fall from 40 feet, right? And like bouncing off the rock
Oh, geez.
and then hitting the bottom in the talus where the rock's like that big, say,
That's not a good
and then landing on that,
Oh,
right?
God.
And then bouncing 6 more feet further down the hill, right?
That's not a good one.
Yeah, no, that was like,
Hopefully he's all right.
went running over. He bit his tongue.
Oh,
He had blood coming out his mouth. You didn't know what was going on. I think he broke his ankle, maybe broke his wrist or something, but
did that have a happy
he got
ending?
stitches in both his elbow. He was fine.
Okay, that's
He-
good. But
He made it, but he landed. And then when he caught his breath, because he lost his breath, but he was like, hey, give me a smoke. I'm going back up. Yeah, that was me. I bumped it.
oh, I made it.
Yeah.
Where was it there? That's it.
Good enough. Yeah. So, yeah. And then he's like, yeah, give me a
said, "Give me a
smoke. I'm
smoke."
going back up. And I'm like, we're like, no, you're not. Right?
Give me a smoke. Well, hey, that's the can-do attitude, and this is dangerous work, right? So
Yeah.
that's a pretty good outcome for a bad
Yeah,
accident.
yeah.
Like, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, there's been some serious ones, right? Like,
we don't have to talk.
yeah.
But
But I mean, I haven't had,
good if you want.
we spent half a day trying to get him off the mountain then, right?
Right.
Trying to get him down the mountain.
'Cause you couldn't
We were
walk
at the
along.
base of the mountain, but to get to the parking lot, carrying him on a stretcher,
Oh.
right? So,
But this is reality, right? Like if you're in an operation and
yeah.
and somebody gets hurt, like you better be able to carry them.
And that's, say, on the course, the idea is to be able to bring casualties up the mountain or bring casualties down the mountain.
Why would you bring a casualty up the mountain?
Well, if we were attacking and we were going on, you might have to bring them with you up to that point, or
Okay.
or depending on where your objective was afterwards, or
Right.
what you were going to do after that,
Okay.
you might have
They can
to.
go either way. But that's so in a way, like, did you guys, was part of your training simulated casualties?
Yeah.
So
Some could be simulated.
some people do.
When we do a bigger exercise, so when we finish the exercise off, the one year we had like a company of troops come in,
Mm.
and so 120 people come in, and we ran them through the mountain, right? Brought them up to the top, rappelled them down, did all this kind of stuff. So, so they also like carried a 3-rope bridge, it's called, and the rope is I think 3 inches, I think, in diameter, like the main rope. But they had it all tied together. They had the bridge made, so it's like you have the rope that you stand on, and then you have 2 that you hold on to. So you're stepping on the one, you got 2 to balance yourself with as you walk across, and then you're also hooked in, right? So if you were to fall, you're not going to fall, right?
Okay.
But those guys carried it on their rucksacks, so they had to spool it up so much, put it on the rucksack, spool it up, put
Did
it
they
on the
carry it
next
like-
guy rucksack.
Did they carry it in like pieces or did
No,
they carry
it was like
a train?
a 300-foot bridge that was all connected on.
So they had to
people's
work together.
rucksacks. They had to
Dude,
try to
that's
walk
awkward,
together.
man.
Yeah.
Do you think they've come up with something different by now, or
No, that's the only way
So
you
when
kind of can
when
do
you're
it.
getting your bridge around, you have
If you're
to.
getting ready, if you assemble the bridge before going to the gap,
Yeah.
right?
How many guys do you think would have to carry that?
Oh, it was probably 30 people at least,
To carry that,
I would think.
how much?
Yeah.
So average mountain guy, what kind of like how much is his kit gonna weigh? Like his whole thing together.
Well, the guys on the rope were probably pulling probably had 80 pounds on their back, you know?
So the
I
other
would
guys
say
are just they're like doing
70 or
security or whatever. Everybody,
Yeah, you'll have guys doing security, guys carrying the bridge because obviously they can't really get involved in a fight,
right.
technically.
That's a huge.
At that
That's
point.
so you're talking about 30 people carrying a rope bridge. That is a tremendous amount of weight. Like how much? Like this. It's hard to imagine this. So the 3-inch rope, is the main rope.
Yeah.
That's the main part. And this thing is, you said 300 feet long, or
Well, I mean, it can be somewhere around there, 2 to 3, right? It's going to be whatever it could be, say, 20 feet more on either side
Sure.
of the gap,
right?
right? So whatever the gap is that you're going.
And so
300 is probably too much, but I would say like probably 150 to 200
so if you're just
feet.
to like pick this thing up, how much does it weigh? Like just to pick
Oh,
up
it'd be a
segment of it?
lot, right?
Like just to pick up a little piece of it, like to pick up one corner of it, how much is that? I mean,
I don't know.
hard to guess, because it's a floppy noodle type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Pretty much like
But man, that's crazy to imagine. You got 30 guys working together to carry this thing, and you're going across a huge gap. Right?
Yeah.
So here's a question: how does the front of the bridge get to the other side of the gap?
Well, so then say either you have somebody, so depending on what the gap is, whether it's crossing a
A
river
crevasse or something?
or a crevasse, if that's the case, then you would have to climb down, climb over, climb up, pull a thinner rope across, and then drag the big rope.
like snaking up electrical wire.
Yeah, so first you'll put like a 1-inch rope across, and then on that you'll slowly hook the 3-rope bridge and drag it across.
So it couldn't be just one guy going to the other side, because this is a heavy.
You probably got 3 guys
and
climbing
they're
to go
and then
across.
at the end they're
Then they've got to
towing it.
pull it.
Oh man,
Right.
They have pulleys or something to do that?
Yeah, we have all the pulleys, and you
Because
hook it
that
up
would
on
be-
the rope,
That'd be really heavy.
and it drags it across.
Because this is a huge system, right? Like this
Yeah,
big
yeah.
3-rope bridge.
Yeah.
So if one guy's just trying to yank on a string or something to bring that up, that's not going anywhere. Right? Like if one guy's just
The one string would be like to pull a 1-inch rope across. And then once you get the 1-inch rope, you tighten it, then you would bring it across on pulleys.
the
big
pulleys.
bridge.
That's what I was thinking. Because just
And that's how you-
head. I'm like, how would you
Yeah.
move something really heavy by?
And that's how you'd send more guys over as well, like for help.
Yeah.
Once say 2 guys climbed, brought the rope over, then guys can just shimmy across.
So these areas that you guys are doing these practices in and these operations, these are not areas that like a lot of the public would like normally go to, right? Because they're probably off the trails and everything, right? Like
Yeah.
they're off.
Yeah,
Are they
can
on
be
trail?
where
or
we're
they-
training? Some will be on trails. Yeah.
Yeah, but most people, the average hiker at Canmore or something, he's going across, or Kananaskis, going across, and he looks at this big. He's not like, oh, I wonder what it's like to climb across that. But that's what you guys are doing. You guys have to know how to do that.
Yeah.
That's interesting because there's a lot of mountains in the area. What's the doctrine of mountain warfare? Like, what's the medical, like the military critical element of knowing how to work mountains, like besides attacking different mountainous areas? Is there like a specific reason that mountains are so important?
Well, the high ground, right?
Okay, that makes
Um,
sense.
The high ground rules a lot. So like even if you look back to Afghanistan, there was traditional ambush sites, right? That were like mountain passes, things like that, right? So that's whoever holds the high ground
When's the fight?
wins the fight, right?
Okay.
And trying to go up, right? So, by doing that, say, the First Special Service Force attacked the German position in World War II, Mount Defensa, I think it was. So they scaled a part of the mountain that they didn't think was possible, and all of them went up there and then attacked them from the top.
Well, because I know, like there was all these different mountain bases and retreats. I think one was they had names for them in places like that that they were using in World War II. The Axis, and obviously a lot of Europe, like Switzerland, and that they have a lot of mountains. So if you're ever going to, Russia has a lot of mountains. Like there's mountains everywhere.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, obviously, you said even here in Canada, the United States, for defensive purposes.
Yeah.
Like the Rocky Mountains kind of cut the continent in half, right? Like they divide
Yeah, divides.
so the coastal area from the rest of the continent.
Yeah.
So you have to definitely. I mean, that was kind of a stupid question. I'll be honest. I was just trying to. Maybe I could have phrased it a bit better.
Yeah.
You answered it. You answered the high ground, and then obviously in different places like Afghanistan, which is like basically all mountain, right? Like, is there a lot
It
of
can be a
places?
lot.
Yeah. So
They had desert there too.
you gotta know how to fight the mountain.
Yeah.
That's hard stuff, man.
Yeah.
And
It's not.
isn't the U.S. they have a really big mountain unit or regiment quite close to here, right? In New York.
So they got 10th Mountain Division, which is out of Waterton.
I know it's in New York as a past.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours south of Kingston, or 2.5
That's about
hours,
right.
like that. Yeah.
Have you ever done any crossover with those guys?
When we went to Somalia, 10th Mountain was there.
Okay.
In Somalia, I believe, and can't remember if I trained with them elsewhere, but
Okay. Was there a lot of mountains in Somalia? I'm not familiar with the geography of Somalia at all.
I can't even. I don't think there was anything, nothing that I saw that I came across that I can think of, but
And so it was 29 years ago.
32 years
I
ago
got the
that I went there.
Right.
So
32
31
years.
years ago that I left.
Because you went December 27th, right?
Yeah, December
90
27th to 92.
92. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you were back in 93 in the summer.
June sometime. Yeah.
Okay. And you left from Petawawa.
So that's why I then kind of whatever I was hanging out in Petawawa, kind of reminiscing 32 years ago. I left on I reported back to work on Boxing Day, and then I can't remember if we left the next morning or that night.
Blur.
Yeah.
And then Somalia, you know that was what it was. There was a lot of stuff that happened there, and a lot of memories and stories there.
Yeah.
And then you came back, and what did you came back in 93. What did the rest of 93 look like for you when you came back?
I believe I went and I did I think that's the year I did my recce course. So I did
That's
a reconnaissance course
Okay.
in probably like September, ran from September to October or something.
So here's a question I'm just curious about.
Yeah.
When you obviously go on your deployment, you're there to fight, you're there to do the mission.
Yeah.
When you're at home, as a fighting trade, like, because you're arms, right?
Yeah.
So what did your day-to-day look like between all the excitement of the deployment and training? Like, what's your average day on base look like with a non-training period?
I said, stay in the airborne. We never physical fitness was very important. So we almost never, they would never cancel PT in order to get the day's training in.
Okay.
So then you would just end up doing PT earlier, right? Going for a run earlier or later.
How long was your run for on an average day?
Probably like an hour.
Okay. An
Yeah.
hour of good run.
Yeah, it was
Hard.
it was a good exercise, right? I mean, my first year in the airborne, I was like, man, why'd I come here? Like, or like, every night I was like, oh my God, I gotta go for a run in the morning. It's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And then every morning I'd go for the run. I would survive. I'd make the run then I'd be like, okay. And then it's like a perfect day until like the evening again. Then it's like, oh man, I got to go do PT again tomorrow. I'm
So
like,
every
why
day
did I come here? It was so hard.
You finish it off, and you're like, "Oh man, this is the best feeling ever." And
Yeah, yeah, and
by
then-
nighttime, you're like, "Fuck,
Then I got to do it again.
5
right?
a.m. It's like
Yeah,
9.
yeah.
It's like this time now." And you're like, "Oh man, 12
Yeah.
hours from now, here we go."
Yeah.
But then slowly over time, did it get any easier after a year of that?
Yeah. Then it didn't bother me. You just do it, right? You kind of, really, it's a mindset, right?
So after
Because
like a year of that,
Your body can do a lot more than what your mind can say, no, you can go further, and you'll go further, right?
Yeah.
But if your mind says, no, this is as far as I'm going, then that's as far as you're going, even though, you can push it further, right? So,
okay. So that was your main. So what did the rest of your day look like after you did PT?
then you do training, do courses, like, say, so that have a primary combat function course that we would do either in the spring and the fall. Those were the times that we kind of run the courses. So
What did You're just looking at how to fight war, basically.
Yeah, so like say courses, when I went to the airborne, I did a machine gun course. So that ran for a month and a half or whatever, right?
And you're learning like what kind of things are you learning?
Learning to fire the machine gun, stoppages, like if you have a problem with your machine gun, what do you do? How do you fix it? Then you have then I did like, armored vehicle general purpose course to drive an armored vehicle.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
Do
you did
that. So I did that before I went to the airborne. And then we actually used the vehicle when we went to
What
small.
was that? Was that like tiny little one that's kind of looking weird?
No, it's like a 18-ton vehicle or
Oh,
whatever.
they're heavy, but they look kind of strange. What are these old ones that they still?
They look more like a boat almost. They got
Yeah.
the back. They got propellers because they can go in the water.
What's it called?
Grizzly
Okay.
is what those ones were called. So they were prior to the light armored vehicles, the LAVs that they had in Afghanistan.
And the Coyote, which is just like a spin-off of the Lad, isn't it?
The Coyote was a reconnaissance vehicle and had a great big tower that would go up like 40 feet with a camera, be able to look. So
We still have those.
so they could be back, and apparently they were really good vehicles.
Well,
Right?
I was saying we had a
reconnaissance.
protest the other when Trudeau at the National Liberal Convention a couple weeks ago when they did the holiday party.
Oh, okay.
There was the pro-Palestinian protest there, but at the same time, right across the street, there's these two vans parked there with these massive masts on it, like you said, like maybe 30,
Yeah.
40 feet tall with all kinds of equipment on top.
Yeah.
So the Coyote was just a lab with the reconnaissance platform.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah.
Or was it a different place?
All that the guys were talking about it yesterday because they work with them. They're saying how they were a really good vehicle, right?
Who mostly operates those Coyotes? With the Dragoon?
That was the armored guys.
Okay.
Dragoons or LDSH.
Okay.
I think I'm not.
That's a different wheelhouse. So back to you, because I'm interested in your daily days. So you have your course du jour, whatever your course was.
Yeah.
And so you finish your PT because you're being paid every day. You're a full-time employee.
Yeah.
So this is your work day.
Yeah.
This is your work day. You know, people go to a factory, people go drive truck, people do a lot of different things. So you come in, first thing you do on the clock is you do run.
Yeah.
And
Do a
then-
run or workout, right?
And then you get a breakfast, right? Maybe or
Yeah. Go grab a shower, grab some to eat, and then back to work for whatever it is, 9 o'clock or whatever.
okay. And so at work, when you're doing your how much of the day is the course? Like from
Well, of course, we'll go right to like 4 o'clock.
oh, so that's your whole day.
Yeah.
Your course.
It's the whole day.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's your whole work.
And then that'll last for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So then you do the course for the 6 weeks. Usually the last week or two, you'll go out into the field and do the actual, shooting the machine gun
put it in practice.
or firing a missile system or, all those kinds.
Because that's what you guys were. You guys are swords, right? So like they're just
Yeah.
you guys are warriors. You guys aren't now desk people. Like you guys, I
Yeah.
mean, and a lot of you guys are really smart. Like you're extraordinarily smart. But the purpose, I'm phrasing this totally wrong. What I'm trying to say is your job is to fight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so everything you do is about
It's
that.
orientated around that. Yeah.
So like when you're at night, this is your 9 to 5 job. This is not like your weekend. It's not like a holiday. It's
Yeah.
not like laser tag or paintball. This is like your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And you do it every day, all day, full time. And
Yeah.
so when you didn't have an active course, were there ever times that you just, okay, we're having a range day or something like that? Or-
Yeah. You'll have to you gotta kind of get a tick in the box for kind of all your training levels, right? So you have to do a personal weapons test, PWT level 3, say, or whatever. So you might go out and do a range day, do a couple days shooting. And that's it. And then you do, so that's one of the things you do. You might do like a 1-day training thing on, just ad hoc training.
People need to like don't take what I say. I know you understood what I meant. I wasn't saying fighting people are stupid. I was just saying, a lot of people go into the office and they're writing on computers all day. That's not like you guys are always training for the next fight, right? Like that's what I'm trying to get at. It's not, that's what I meant. I don't mean, I would much rather have Mike beside me if anything ever got real than anybody else, anybody in an office or anything like that. Like that was your life.
Yeah.
And like people will think of a soldier and they think of war, but they don't really think of like, what are you doing in preparation for that? What do you do when we're
Yeah.
not at war?
Yeah.
Well, you're preparing for war,
Yeah.
right? Like your entire life.
Yeah.
Um,
And even to say, when I'm sure it was the case for many, but like when you come back, say from Afghanistan, right? People are going over there. They replaced you. They're now over there fighting, right? So it doesn't feel right to be back when the war's still going on. And it's kind of a hard to, when you come back, you don't feel like you should be back. You feel like you should still be over there.
I feel like this would probably be a discussion would be better suited for a fellow veteran, but I could totally like, I hear what you're saying. I don't understand it, but I hear it.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate everything you've done. Sincerely, you've done a lot for our country.
Yeah.
And people like you've done a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, whether, put all the politics of everything that went on aside, you still did, you're still serving in service of our country.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. Thank you.
It takes a lot to put everybody else first.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We could, since you brought that up, I wasn't going to mention it, but you were going back on tour. And then this is a bit more lighthearted.
Yeah.
So what happened? You were going to go back to Afghanistan.
Yeah. I was to go back. I think it was in 2008, and then I broke my femur.
Right. That's a terrible accident.
Yeah.
But how did it happen?
So, because physical fitness is an important part of the military.
Yeah.
So we would have sports games against each other. So we had hockey. 3 PPCLI, the 3rd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry would play we were playing the 1st Battalion PPCLI. And it was actually a friend of mine I was chasing down. He was on a breakaway. I tripped him up. We both went down and went flying into the boards. He broke my fall against the boards, but I broke my femur in the process, right at the hip, kind of like where the neck is, kind of broke across.
That's a terrible injury. Like when you first told me that story. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I spent like 6 months on crutches, right? It was
that's a terrible injury. Like that's a serious, like breaking your femur. That's the biggest bone in your body. And like we talked, I got a little bit weird about that because I'm like, oh, did you know, like in World War I, they invented this traction device to keep, because that's a serious injury. That's probably the worst bone in your body to break. That's not a good injury. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not inclined enough to know if that's a better place to break it near the hip or not, but I just know.
I don't think any place is a good place.
No, nothing's good. Yeah. But that's just not that's a very serious injury. So it's, thank goodness that you're back. You walk really well.
Yeah. And when we went into the boards and then we kind of, finished the flop or whatever. And then it was like, I went to move my leg and it didn't move. And then I'm like, there goes my tour. That was my first thought, right? I lost my tour, not going to Afghanistan. So then I was on crutches and I was like hoping, right? No, hopefully, it'll heal quick enough, I'll do everything. No, because my tour was in 6 months and I spent 6 months on crutches. So
but you didn't lay down, like you were doing PT the whole time, right? Like you were doing swimming, you were telling me?
Yeah, so I didn't want to lose muscle mass or nothing. So then I just started I'd go to the pool every day and go. And even though I couldn't walk on my leg, I could swim. And I kept doing that. Like I'd go to the pool every day. And I think at the end of swimming, probably an hour a day, kind of.
A lot. Especially with an injury like that, it must have hurt a lot.
Yeah.
You still powered through it, man. That's incredible resilience.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
So for the rest of you, so that was in 2006, right? 2008?
Oh, 2008. Yeah.
2008. Okay. So from that, you still had another 9 years or so, right?
I got out in 2016. So in
8 years, 9 years.
I broke my leg. That took like almost a year to even say it still wasn't kind of there. But then I kind of transitioned to go and join the reserves. So I went and worked as a Canadian Ranger instructor in Newfoundland and Labrador. So that was 2010 then. I left the reg force, and then in 2014, the wheels fell off, and I did this, what they call reserve force compensation. So kind of like staying at home sick, kind of, you know. But yeah, so then I was released in 2016.
Okay. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So when you were in the reserves, was it like less? It was less time than you were at.
Yeah, I only did the reserves for like 4 years, really, kind of.
Like no, I mean like day to day. Like was it a?
Oh no, like that was all the training was on the weekends, because then I was working with people that maybe had a full-time job, and the Rangers was something secondary.
Yeah.
So all the training is normally done on the weekends. So, and then they were short of instructors, or they could be short of instructors. So you were like almost every weekend, right? You were out training. So out of being at home, working in Gander at the unit, or traveling my different patrols.
Oh, so you were going to different patrols.
Yeah, so I had a patrol in northern Labrador. I had a patrol in northern Newfoundland. Had one in the middle of the island, or two in the middle of the island, Springdale, and
So it was a full time job still.
oh no, it was more than full time.
Yeah. The reservists, a lot of them, they, like you said, they do it on the weekend, but you were full time.
Yeah, that was because then the weekends were the training, and then I had to either finish my paperwork from the training, or prepare stuff to go on the next weekend, right? So really, it kind of amounted to, I bet you I only got like maybe 4 days off a month, maybe.
All right. Yeah. So you're very busy. Did you enjoy that?
Oh yeah, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That was
Yeah,
so.
stayed on the road a
So
lot.
what would your life have looked like if you stayed active duty, less traveling?
No, I mean, it all depends on the job you're in.
Right.
So
your,
some of the jobs
your
can
trade was
Take you more. Yeah, but I mean, also it depends on what your job is within that unit
Okay.
per se.
Right.
So you might have a lot more work to do than the next guy,
For
right?
sure.
So you could be there 10 hours a day, and somebody else might only be there 8.
Well, yeah. So just like, so with the reserves, you're traveling along Newfoundland and Labrador,
Yeah.
and you're going to all these different places, doing all this preparation, doing all these instructions.
Yeah.
What do you think would have been different if you had stayed active duty? Like in terms of your workload?
Just, I mean, it could be just as busy, right? Then you're going overseas.
right. That's the
You have
component.
to do all the workup training before you go overseas, so you're away from home to begin with, then to go away for 6 months.
So then that was the biggest change, I guess. No more overseas.
Yeah, no more overseas then, really.
That was the
Rangers.
difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I too have to hit the road.
Yes, I know. I'm keeping you.
I got yoga at 8 o'clock. I'm
And he's
doing
not
yoga
gonna miss that.
nidra. Yeah.
He's not going to miss. He's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
have his
because it's
yoga.
my favorite. So,
Okay. So we're going to let Mike go. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Mike, you've shared some really great stories
yeah,
this week.
thank you.
I know we're going to see you in a couple of weeks, my time, our time, it's,
Yeah.
we will catch up in a couple of weeks. I know that you talked about some of the stuff you did this last year and some of the stuff ahead, like you got Operation Pegasus jump, you got the run for the wall,
Yep.
looking for a driver. Maybe there's one closer than you think. If that's, maybe that would be a lot of fun. Maybe that would be the experience of a lifetime, man, to cruise across the US. I we'll look into it. And so you got lots of interesting stuff coming up. So thanks for checking in, and thanks for the episode, brother.
Love you, man.
Love you too.
Take care.
Take care. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Sergeant retired Mike Root of the Canadian Armed Forces. Thank you for catching up. And Mike is a truly remarkable guy, and his is a story that he's told really well. But I'm happy to be able to be doing this with him and Chris, and getting his story out even more. So thanks, Mike.
And the two of them are rock stars. John and Chris are awesome, man.
Yeah,
right?
especially Chris. He's doing all the groundwork. I know. I'm just
I love both
being
you
humble.
guys. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get you back to you got a trip ahead of you.
I gotta get yoga.
Tired. All right, and tomorrow, Hal and Bruce, I'll see you guys all there to talk about that.
Yeah.
and maybe you'll be there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Either way, I am gonna come in and try to show some support for Helen and for the rest, right?
All right, thank you.
And if I can make it back for Pat as well. Yeah, so,
All right.
all right, love you all. Take care, stay safe.